Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Contact 5 investigator Michael Buchner. Thank you for making some time to join us on this important meeting here. You know, it's been an extremely difficult year, of course, for just about everyone, not only across South Florida, across the country and the globe. A lot of people, of course, found themselves in difficult times because they lost their job and couldn't pay their bills. You know, we've been following how Palm Beach County and other organizations have been assisting people during these challenging times. One of the great assets to help people across Palm Beach County, of course, is the portal that Palm Beach County has to help people pay for rent and to pay for utilities. And we discovered recently that this portal is closed, and it has been closed for some time. And that's because the county says that there is a high volume of applications. And as I could imagine, this is obviously have to be very frustrating for people in that situation of need at this time. So we sat down with Palm Beach County to ask them why this portal is closed, when it's going to reopen. But we also had an opportunity to speak with some really great members of our community. You're going to see the story here shortly. A gentleman who found himself in a tough situation, but was able to pick himself back up through the help of Palm Beach County and through the help of Palm Beach County Legal Aid. Legal Aid is here with us, and after the piece, we will have a great discussion, a meaningful discussion about what you can do and what help is available if you find yourself in this tough situation. So let's take a look at the story we did, and we'll see you on the other side.
I'm Contact 5 investigator Michael Buchner. Palm Beach County's portal to help residents impacted during the pandemic pay for rent and utilities is closed. So we came here to Palm Beach County Community Services to ask why.
I knew that the implications of COVID were tremendous. I knew that this was a test. This was a test that many people across America was facing. And I knew that I wasn't alone.
Picture this.
Overnight, I started to get phone calls back to back. Hey, we got to cancel. Hey, we got to cancel because of the CDC guidelines.
In a flash, Everett Hamilton's multimedia business was gone.
I probably went from doing maybe 12 to 15 things a month to absolutely zero.
And so was his livelihood, thanks to the pandemic. What kind of notice did you get?
Well, initial notice was to obviously, hey, you're behind in your rent, so you have to pay. Yeah, it's a tough situation because I'd never been there before.
Facing the threat of eviction, Hamilton says he received rental and utility assistance from Palm Beach County and guidance from the Legal Aid Society.
They jumped in and did an amazing job at helping me navigate what I needed to do.
What has the demand been like?
We are still seeing a high demand for tenants who are facing eviction for non-payment of rent and for lease violations for a lease that's expiring.
Takisha Miles, an attorney at Legal Aid, works with neighbors facing housing issues and helps them apply for rental assistance through Palm Beach County. So it sounds like people are falling behind and not able to catch up?
Correct. You know, we've seen as high as $26,000 in past due rent for a family to just, needing 1 month's rent to just get caught up.
The CDC's eviction moratorium remains in place for now. Numbers from the county clerk's office show more than 1,100 open residential eviction cases in Palm Beach County for a variety of reasons. What does that number say to you?
It says we have a big problem if we don't continue to come up with solutions.
We're seeing a consistent demand for rental and utility assistance.
Despite that demand, Palm Beach County's rental and utility assistance portal is closed for 3 weeks and won't reopen until June 7th. Why is the portal closed here in Palm Beach County?
The portal closing allows us to calibrate the system and to make tweaks and enhancements. It allows us to process the applications that have come in a way that's efficient.
The website says that it's closed due to the high volume of applications. If that's the case, why not leave it open? Because obviously there's demand here.
Well, again, it allows us, we have limited staff and limited capacity, and so closing the portal temporarily allows us to continue to work with those individuals who've applied.
Green told Contact 5 that when open, the portal received 200 to 300 applications per day. When we asked about staffing levels to help process the applications, He said he had a previously planned meeting with county administration following our interview. Should the county throw more resources at this?
Absolutely. I know that the need is greater than probably anybody can imagine. The need is tremendous.
Hamilton is beyond grateful for the help received from the county as his business begins to come back into focus.
The phone is starting to ring again. It's not back to where it was before the pandemic, but I am getting some calls. So it takes perseverance. You can never give up.
In Palm Beach County, Michael Butchner, WPTV News Channel 5.
And we are back. It's great meeting Everett and hearing his voice and being able to tell his story, just how resilient he is and other people across our community are. Joining us right now, a special guest is Takisha Miles. You saw her in the story there. She is an attorney, works for the Legal Aid Society of Palm Beach County. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yes, it's great to have you. This, of course, is an important story to tell, an important topic to talk about, because so many people are struggling. I feel like we're all trying to get back to what the new normal is, perhaps, or what normal life looked like before the pandemic. But I feel like as we do that, there's something else going on in our community. Tell us, what are you experiencing? What are you hearing? What are you seeing? Although for some people, maybe it feels normal. For others in our community, it sounds like it's certainly not that.
Well, I think that although many parts of life are returning to normal, or what we believe is normal, I think for so many of our members of our community, they're still facing the challenges of food insecurity, maybe not having the income at the level that they were, or that they, maybe had a part-time job that supplemented their income that they no longer have, or just, having to still deal with the kind of the struggles of the unknown as to when the pandemic will end. I think many people are still just struggling to deal with that, reality as they kind of move closer to what the world reopening, the state reopening, and the county being fully reopened.
You're a tremendous asset and resource to our community, and Legal Aid is as well. Tell us a little bit about the work that you've been doing and that Legal Aid's been doing here in Palm Beach County to help people that are impacted by the pandemic.
Well, when the pandemic first hit us, our office closed. Just like every other office, we closed down and then kind of had to reassemble and reconfigure to figure out how we could still serve the community. And so although our offices are physically closed to clients, our staff is working remotely, still trying to serve the community and all the different 21 projects that we have at Legal Aid. We help people with divorces. We still had to actively represent people who are facing restraining orders. That domestic violence did not slow down because of a pandemic. In fact, I think the numbers probably bear out they really were steady despite the pandemic. We still had our educational advocacy project still had to fight on behalf of children who had issues with the distance learning. So we had to just kind of figure out how to serve clients in a different way. And so our eviction program, normally, if there were a lot of evictions going on, we'd probably have a outreach event and tell people what their rights are, give them papers and send them along their way. But because the pandemic, we couldn't meet people where they were, we've had to come and figure out how to do webinars and learn how to Zoom and do hearings via Zoom because the court, shut down for non-essential hearings. And so we've had to try to figure out new ways to serve our clients that was safe for our clients and safe for our staff.
Tell me this, somebody who maybe is sitting at home or watching on their device right now, and they find themselves in a tough situation. Maybe they're back, their rent is behind, they're lagging behind, or maybe they're 1 or 2 payments short. The portal is closed, and the county makes it abundantly clear that because of the volume of applications, that portal is closed, and it says it will reopen June 7th at 8 a.m. If someone finds themselves in a really tough situation right now, what do you recommend they do?
Well, the first thing is to make sure they have an open line of communication with the landlord. The landlord needs to know what's going on, and I think you need to be open and honest with the landlord that you're having some financial difficulties. And then second, you need to seek help. Although the portal is closed for new applications, you can still contact our office and get advice on your rights as a tenant. Our office is able to assist people with rental assistance who are in the eviction process currently. And we will try to assist you going through the portal and getting your documents ready to be submitted through the portal. And then just to know that, there are other resources that might be available. There might be another agency that we can refer you to that might have another pool of funds that might be able to give you rental assistance. There are a number of agencies that receive grant funding from the county that's different from what the county is using for the portal, and may be able to help you with your rent if you're income eligible.
Yeah, I also, as you talk about other agencies, I saw recently, and we put it, it's on our website, the information, but it's ourflorida.com, and that's coming from the Florida Department of Family and Children's Services. Obviously, I know they received a lot of federal assistance as well to help people. So tell us, are you also involved in, helping people find that assistance through those different avenues?
So we're trying to spread the word. So if you can't reach one avenue, that you should apply for another one. We have not had anyone receive funding through the state yet, but we are going to seek, try to assist people with applying for that funding. But for, those people in Palm Beach County that have an immediate need, we want to make sure that they, start getting their documents ready because the funds that are coming to our county and to the state are funds from the federal government. They come with a little restrictions and some hoops that they have to jump through. So it's important now that you get your documents together because you're going to need a valid lease. You need proof of your income, proof of your COVID hardship, copy of your driver's license. All the portals are going to need pretty much the same information ready to go and ready to be uploaded to the portal. And so the thing now is that, you have a couple of days, 5 or 6 days now to get that stuff ready so that when you're ready to submit, you have everything lined up to be submitted in the first batch.
I wanted to talk to you too a little bit about the CDC moratorium on evictions at this point. Can you just maybe share the importance if people find themselves in a tough situation impacted directly by the pandemic? What do they need to know about the moratorium, and what do they need to know about the proper paperwork that needs to be filed?
So technically today, the moratorium is still in effect. So we have a number of cases across the country where there are entities, realtors associations, and some other groups that are challenging the constitutionality of the moratorium. So there's a case in Texas, Ohio, and the case that we're looking at right now is a case out of District of Columbia where a judge has agreed that the moratorium may not be a proper use of the federal government's authority. The Department of Justice filed a motion to stay while they appeal that judge's decision. So currently, we are under a national stay of that judge's ruling. So the moratorium stays in effect right now because of the stay through June 30th. So we're waiting to find out if the CDC and the federal government will put in another extension of the moratorium, and despite the legal roller coaster we're on, we're hopeful that they will do that until the court, the appellate court, makes a decision. This may be something that ultimately has to go to the Supreme Court because it is a matter of great public importance. But we will have to wait and see. But for today, if tenants have been financially impacted by COVID, they should get the CDC form, and we have them here at Legal Aid. We can get them emailed to anyone. It's available on many websites, including the county's website. They need to download it, print it, give it to their landlord right away. Make a copy for themselves. And if their case is in the eviction process, they've been served with the eviction, they need to file it in the court so that the judge knows that they are impacted by COVID.
And again, just to clarify, this paperwork needs to be filed, correct? The landlord needs to receive this, or it needs to go into the court file, correct? If someone impacted by the pandemic.
So yes, if the person has not been served with an eviction lawsuit, then they just need to give it to their landlord. But if they have been served with an active eviction and have an active eviction case in the court system, they should also file a copy of the CDC moratorium with the court, so the court is aware that they are someone impacted. So technically, if they have that on file, they let the court know that they are CDC moratorium protected, then they should be eligible for a stay of the writ of possession based on that moratorium being in effect through June 30th.
I know in the past we've talked about the importance of this moratorium, and obviously this has got to be very difficult for landlords as well, who find themselves, as small business owners in some cases, in a tough situation. So it's something we're all aware of. What concerns do you have about what happens once this moratorium is either lifted or expires?
Well, we have a lot of cases that are pretty much being, held up by the moratorium in court that are, the writ of possession or the case has stayed pending the moratorium. And so if this moratorium goes away, the protections that many tenants have against eviction will disappear. And without those protections, I don't know where they're going to go. Without the ability to pay the rent and income to pay the rent, there's just not a lot of resources for our homeless community as it is. And then to have many more families enter that system, it will be a strain on the system if we don't keep the moratorium going.
I bet this has, of course, been stressful for you and for your team as well. But I'm sure, as we heard in the story, there's so many people in the community who are thankful, for the great work you're doing. If anyone maybe just signed on or they just started watching, maybe one or two simple pieces of information you could share for someone, again, who finds themselves maybe in a tough situation, behind rent or trying to catch up. What would you suggest?
I would just make sure that you reach out to a law office like our office to make sure that you understand what your rights are and your responsibilities are under the Landlord-Tenant Act and how the CDC moratorium will protect you. And for landlords who are faced with a tenant who is unable to pay their rent, the CFPB, which is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, just put out some new guidelines and requirements for landlords that they have to let people know that they have to, on their 3-day notice, they have to let the tenant know that they may be eligible for rental assistance if they are a person impacted by COVID. So that's a new change that landlords need to be aware of that has to go on their 3-day notices going forward. But we just want to make sure that people know that there are resources out here. There are legal resources out here. There are financial resources out here. The community is trying to, as best as we can, help assist as many people as we can.
Yeah, we have a question here. Michelle asking, is there anywhere we can get help applying for help? What would be the best, what advice would you give them?
So if people need help applying for the emergency rental assistance through the county has mobile outreach vans. They have partnered with agencies to go out in the community to help people apply for rental assistance. The library has made themselves available to be able to help be a resource for people who need help scanning and uploading their documents. And they can also come to our office for assistance applying for the rental assistance. We will help them. We have hired a caseworker to have that one responsibility where they're helping people apply for their portal, follow up on the inquiries as to what documents are missing, and help guide them through the process. For many people, applying for rental assistance on a portal is challenging, and they don't have a smartphone or don't have access to a computer or a laptop or a tablet. And so this is a foreign process. And so we have a caseworker that can help them go through that process, and we'll make ourselves available for that person.
That's great. That's so important. Again, just to recap, the portal is closed to June 7th until 8 a.m. We put a lot of information on our website, WPTV.com, on the story. Palm Beach County, you can reach out to them. They have a call center. It's 561-355-4792. That's on the web story. And of course, if you want to reach out, DCF also has a website where you can apply for assistance. That's ourflorida.com. Again, ourflorida.com. And this is an issue. This is a story that we're going to continue to monitor, continue to ask questions, and continue to tell the story, because definitely a challenging time for a lot of people in our community. Takisha, I really thank you for making some time this afternoon to sit down and share this with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great, thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us, and have a great afternoon.